Ladies and gentlemen, introducing
Welcome to the show. It is Thursday, 7 p.m. Welcome to the Triple Threat Bet podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ty Cobb. Big shout out to our guest from last week, Mark Andrew, came on, told some great stories, just pontificating almost about leadership, leading through the fire. You can find leading through the heat. You can find his book on Amazon, and you can check all of his Instagrams and everything out. We'll put those in the chat, but that was a fun story we had there last week. If you don't like to watch the live show, all the shows get uploaded to everywhere you find your podcasts. Please be sure, if you're watching right now, give us a like, share, and a follow. And if you want to come on and tell your story, hit us up at triplethreatbets@gmail.com. I want to give a shout out to VFW Post 8790. They got their Save the Boots and Hero Gala coming up on the 19th of September. That's VFW Post 8790. Go out and support them on the 19th of September for their Boots and Heroes Gala. I want to give a big shout out to Got Your Six Culture, same flag, same oath, better known business. They do all the podcast stuff, all the got the new shirt here, Wax and Poetic and everything. And then, of course, big shout out to Becky Jo Art for all that she does. Shout out to Kyle Shudik and Project Zero for all they do for veterans. They're doing the adventure therapy, conventional therapy. They have charters that go offshore. They got surf fishing. Their call tag is Get Out There. So that's Project Zero. Hit up projectzero.org or .com, and see all the good services they got going on for veterans. I also want to remind you that we will be at the 5th Annual Memorial Golf Scramble at Willow Fork Country Club on 14 September, supporting the Project Zero Alliance. 5 years. I know one person won it 3 times, and then a roofing company named Mitchell Roofing Company won it last year, but I know Grant Garrison, the 3-time champion, is trying to become a 4-time champion, so that should be a lot of fun. Matt wants to make sure we talk about the Houston Fire Department and the Houston Police Department having their annual Battle of the Badges charity game presented by 300 Justice Road. That'll be on 11th September. Go out and support them at Rice Stadiums for a great cause, doing wonderful things out there. And athletic as hell, too. I've recently told y'all I've been part of the peer support program course. So if you need peer support, you are a veteran and need the peer support, go to www.warmline.org, type in where you live, which state, and it will give you all of the peer support specialist lines that are open at what hours on that website. Today we got a great one going on here. Brian Flanigan, Lieutenant Colonel, retired from the Air Force. He's a pilot of the AC-130 and the MQ-9, and he's a cancer survivor. We were talking to him in the green room. Should be a great conversation, but we do have our hero in the building, so let me send it over to the hero.
What's going on, people? Glad you tuned in today. So today I really want to, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I really don't give a shit. But I want to apologize to the entire United States Air Force for all the years that I spent saying Air Force is soft, they're chair force, they don't really work, they do little baby deployments, and let me tell you, the Navy has taken the throne and the trophy for being the weakest, softest fucking branch in the United States military. After watching all this shit about the USS Abraham Lincoln and people complaining about deployment, about their living conditions, are you shitting me? Like, wait a minute. They're complaining about the cleanliness of a bathroom. The fact that you have a porcelain or metal or whatever the fuck y'all have on those things to shit in. You have somewhere to actually shit that's not an MRE box. Bro, I don't know what to say. Like, it's appalling at the fact that people are saying, oh, they've been at sea for 200 or whatever days. And there was motherfuckers who were doing combat tours for 12, 18 months, eating MREs, getting shot at, blown up, V-beds, IEDs, in 130-degree weather. Like, what the fuck? Or I guess my biggest problem is not the fact that you're bitching about deployment. We all bitch about deployment. Deployments sometimes suck and they're tough, and we just suck it up. We bitch about it. We talk shit with each other. But the fact that they're making such a big deal of it, what the fuck did you think you signed up to do? You raised your right hand, you swore an oath, you signed papers, like you signed up for this shit. What did you think you were joining? What company or organization did you think you were signing up? You were signing up to be a war fighter and to do what your country asked you to do. And the fact that people are really, not everybody on that ship, but a lot of people are complaining and whining, and people's parents are going to the media. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that is the softest baby shit. Navy, we got to do better. Look at that. My point exactly. That's the leaders, right? That's the leadership right there. You've seen it. It's just crazy, Ty. It was nuts to see all the people whining about we don't have great food. Try eating fucking MREs for 6 months and then fucking shitting bricks for another fucking 6 months because you ate MREs for 6 months. It's crazy. It's absolutely astonishing that the military is. They're complaining. Like, you signed up for this shit. Like, this is what you swore to support and do. Like, this is what you do. Like, you joined the United States Navy. 99% of every Navy base is near the water. Like, we have ships and boats and shit. Like, what did you think you were doing? Like, I'm confused. Like, it's not the Boy Scouts. Like, what are you talking about?
I understand that, and I'll yield to you when it comes to, talking about the Navy and being on ships, especially carriers. I mean,
it's a floating city, bro. They got
it's crazy.
Gymnasiums, like basketball courts, and like movie theater, like things you can go watch TV.
But here's the thing:
and galleys and food and bathrooms and hot water. What the fuck are we talking about?
Right.
Like,
so
really,
they did say that this boat or ship had been out to sea without hitting a port. So I understand that we may be on some of the sea rations, but like you said, that's what we signed up for. And so I'm not gonna.
How many ports did you? Hey,
hold on.
How many Liberty ports did you pull into when you were sitting in Afghanistan?
I can't believe that I'm. I talk about people not bruising well, like I think SEAL Commander said. That generation doesn't bruise well. Here's what I hate, though. I hate that it was politicized in such a way that every one of those shows are either like, oh, I can't believe they're talking anything about, our perfect, military from our commander-in-chief to, these people are living in squalor. This is, I mean, come on. We're fighting war. And then the fact that it was politicized about someone trying to jump overboard, people try to kill themselves in the military because of the pressure all the time. And I'm sure it's pressure, and that's fine, but that's effectively trying to kill yourself when you jump overboard, right?
I mean, I would assume so.
You're probably not getting saved.
Yeah, I mean that's a long fall. Them ships are pretty tall, from what I understand. Like,
the mental health aspect of it, is what I'm so pissed that the news politicized. We have people that break every now and then. I'm sorry, the military is not for everybody, but you do got to toughen up a little bit as a society to understand what those people go through. That are out there.
It's just absurd. Like, when people are like, I seen a video where somebody was like recording in the bathroom. Like, look at this. I'm just thinking, bro, that like you have somewhere to like shit. Like, you have an actual toilet and it flushes, bro. That's crazy. Like, try shitting in a fucking 130 porta john. Like, try not to get blown up while you're doing it. Like, that's crazy to me that we and I'm sure it's not everybody, but like, that's, man, the leadership, I wish a motherfucker would type of shit. Like, there's no way.
What's up, Rich and Monica?
Like, it's just crazy. Like, look at what we're eating. This is some bullshit. Look at this steak. It's just gross. Like,
this steak is terrible.
This steak is terrible. Like,
got a lot of people checking in there tonight. Rich and Monica, your brother. What's going on there, Brett? Appreciate you watching. We got Doc Powell. What's she saying? My brother and I got into it over this. Of course, I'm supportive of mental health as a medic. I told him hard labor helps, mentorship, hard work, character development, as opposed to worse UCMJ. Yeah, I'm not even trying to delve into like what the Navy command's going through them or having them sign NDAs. Like, that shit, I can't believe it's being politicized, man. Like, loose lips sink ships. I didn't talk about my command, even if I
no, bro. We're gonna talk shit in the shop,
man
together.
to man, or man to woman, whatever.
We're gonna talk shit together while we're sitting in the armory cleaning block weapons, bitching about this is some bullshit. Like but we're not going to the news. I'm not calling my mom and dad and being like, I am so appalled. Like our shitters have not been sterilized. Like I don't even get it, bro. I just don't understand the people that are complaining.
I come from an army where my platoon sergeant, before I was in Kosovo, 9/11 happened, came back, knew we were going to Iraq at some point. My platoon sergeant slept in a body bag, sick and dark jokes and handling austere environments. That was part of our creed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know what it would be like to be in the middle of the ocean on a carrier. That would be scary to me because I've not done that. But I'm just saying, like, it could be worse.
I'll tell you what's not happening. No one's shooting at you on that carrier. Yeah. You're not getting VBITed or IED
out of your country. Like you're serving your country. Those people, like we had a guy that got out of the Navy, came to the 716th MP battalion, and one of our battalion commanders used to make him do the thing because I guess he was a green shirt or whatever.
Yeah, whatever on the ship.
Down to do the and so they would make him do all that. Those people were my heroes, and Navy. Since I joined the Army, I always look at the leadership that was in the Navy, and like I think the Navy's got some pretty fucking good leaders. If it's any indication of like the people that I've met, so I think they're in good hands. I just can't believe how it's been politicized and such.
It's absolutely
offensive. Yeah, not so offensive to me, like offensive. It's offensive versus defensive.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and
they're trying to get you.
I don't know, like the people that are making the complaints and freaking out and acting crazy. Like, I just really am curious. Like, what did you think you were, really, what did you think you were joining? Like, what did you think you were signing your name and raising your right hand and swearing an oath to? Like, at any time during your process, did you not be like, so wait a minute, like, I'm going to get on a ship someday and we might deploy for a long time. Oh yeah. Okay. Like, fuck, it's the Navy, bro. That's what they do. They deploy a lot. They're on ships. They have like a crazy rotation and they're gone all the time. So it's just mind-boggling to hear people it's just crazy.
Shout out to Jacksonville, Florida, being a Navy town. I mean, there's 3 bases: Mayport, NAS Jax, Kings Bay, all right there. And then, you feel it. So shout out to the Navy. Y'all doing good.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah, but shout out to Carlos Calzada with 1513 Cookers. He says sorry he's late, but he's here. So appreciate that. All right, one more comment before we get our guest on here. This got Doc Powell. It really upset me. Some people I had to just go. Obviously, y'all did not know anything about my first deployment. Yellow ribbon suffice, bro. I was hungry and nasty. Yeah, she said something earlier about like when you do get down, just pour yourself into it. Like we had austere conditions, sometimes during our deployments, but one time I was at Victory Base Complex, living on Pad 15. We had a little concert area where we would play live shows. The 4th ID band would come play for us. So I had it plush some places. So I can't.
And you also didn't have access to a shower. We were baby wiping our balls and asses every day, like hoping we get to somewhere that had a shower tent facility set up. I don't want to hear it.
I hear you. All right. Well, hey, so today we do have Brian Flanigan coming on, so I want to read his bio real quick. Brian Flanigan spent more than 20 years leading in some of the world's most demanding environments as United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, AC-130 Gunship Commander, and leadership instructor. During his military career, he flew more than 450 combat missions and accumulated over 2,200 combat flight hours, making critical decisions when the stakes could not have been higher. He spent his career in the no-fail environment and special operations aviation, serving as an AC-130 aircraft commander, instructor, navigator, and MQ-9 pilot. I think that's cool as hell. Brian learned that success isn't about a perfect plan. It's about working as a crew and adjusting fire to hit the targets that matter the most to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Flanigan. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, what's up? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Hi, Al.
Yeah, sorry. Usually Matt will be introducing and I'll be moving the slides around, but our other host, Matt, is not here tonight. Shout out to Matt. He's doing some work, but normally he's doing the interviewing while I do the producing. So
you're doing a great job, man. Keep it up.
all right, here we go, sir. So Al, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
All right. So what we like to do when we start the show is we just like to get to know. So we're literally going to go all the way back to the beginning. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up an Army brat. So my dad was actually a MP officer, CID officer. So I really don't have a hometown. I kind of moved around. So I was born. Yeah, that's right. I was born in Corbin, Kentucky. Probably wasn't there long.
Hold on. You were born in Corbin, Kentucky?
Yes. Does anybody know where that is?
I was born.
That's where he's from.
Oh, no way. Yeah. I was born in Corbin. County.
Okay. Continue, sir.
Yeah. I don't ever remember living there. I think I've been back once since then. But essentially, my dad was ROTC and did that in college right at the end of the Vietnam War. So right when he's finishing up school, Vietnam ended, and the big kind of rift happened. So he didn't go in the military after that. I think he was serving in the reserve. And then 4 kids later, ended up going back in the military as a MPCID officer. And that's kind of where I came into the story. So moved all around. And I went to 8 different high schools, 3 different high schools. So I started in North Carolina, and then I ended up in North Carolina for my last ones. But did Kansas, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Washington State, Germany. That's my first memories, is living in Germany in the early 80s. And so I kind of moved all around from there, but graduated high school in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Airborne.
That's right. Yeah, my dad was airborne, dude. Master blaster.
Vietnam.
Yeah, master blaster. Dude, I remember as a kid, he's a jump master. So I remember as a kid being in the hallway, my dad practicing all of his commands. Me and my sisters are stand up, hook up, shuffle into the door, prepared. I could probably do it from just from memory. So, and then going out to the drop zones as a kid in the 80s and watching my dad jump and, out in Sicily and all the drop zones out in Fort Bragg. And so those are my earliest memories, was being around the military and, seeing that.
Oh, that's amazing. So, like I said, I grew up in Kentucky I was born in Corbin in the old hospital back in 75. And then, living around there, basketball becomes, or sports overall, but basketball becomes big in your life. So were sports something that you did as you're traveling to all these different places as a military brat?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not the biggest guy, so grew up initially playing soccer. And then my 7th grade year, I don't think I was really doing anything. I lived in Kansas for a year. My dad was in school, and I really didn't know what I want to do. But typical parents like, hey, you got to do something. You got to get involved. I was playing some backyard baseball, sandlot, which I really loved. But I think I played some spring baseball that season. I was terrible. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but I wasn't very good. But then friends of our family, they had a son who was older. He ended up going to West Point, but he was a wrestler. And so they're like, hey, you should be a wrestler kind of like Sean, or give it a shot. So started wrestling in Kansas, and I was terrible. It was like a club thing at the 7th grade level. So I used to joke. My dad used to wake up on Saturday mornings on his day off and drive me an hour and a half, 2 hours one way to a tournament to watch me just get my ass beat, by these other kids and getting pinned down and held against my will. And but I stuck with it. Right. Yeah, I grew up right, and I stuck with it. And then I moved to Pennsylvania and got better and better and better. And so I ended up doing pretty well, pretty competitive, in wrestling. I think my senior year, I was, conference champ and regional runner-up. And I think I got 4th place in state, North Carolina. But it allowed me as a wrestler to as an athlete, when I moved to these schools, specifically being, 3 different high schools, how hard that is to fit in. And that's how I fit in as just an athlete. And it was a sport that, it's black and white, man. As they say, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And so either you won or you didn't. There wasn't like the coach liked you, or your parents gave to the club, so you got to start, or you were just big, so you got to play ahead of this. I mean, it was literally performance is what mattered, and I think that's what shaped my life going forward. Is just performance mattered and competing and doing that. And then I credit it with just the mental toughness of
what was your weight class?
I was 135. I think pretty much all 4 years, except for my senior year. Class.
I was I wrestled all through high school and wrestled growing up. I was wrestled, loved it. And I did, we would do, high school wrestling. And then in the summertime and off season, we would do freestyle wrestling. And it was great. But I was a 103 guy. I joke all the time. I would win matches because I'd show up and there'd be nobody in my weight class.
Yeah,
And they just
yeah,
walk
roll
you out on the
throw
mat
your-
and be
throw your-
like,
throw your hand up.
yeah,
you
they
know?
would. They'd walk on the mat, raise your hand. You're like, fuck yeah, that was easy, bro. I didn't even sweat. And we were a poor school out of Columbus, Georgia. We would share singlets. Like I would wrestle at 103 and then go give it to the 112 guy.
Yeah,
He
you
would
were
wrestle.
sweating anyway, so it's cool.
He would, he'd wrestle and then bring it back to me. Like, oh, it was gross. We were like sharing singlets and shit. We had no money.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I enjoyed it though, and I think Pennsylvania is what really, for people that don't know the viewers, like Pennsylvania is probably one of the top states in the country in high school and in college, and
Pennsylvania,
so I think
Iowa. There's some
all those, man. I mean,
that Northeast and Midwest is where it's at.
Yeah, so I got to see what right looked like from a real young age, 8th grade, 9th grade, and then I went to Penn State wrestling camp growing up, and I got to see guys like Kerry Colott and all these dudes, that were, national champions. So in that weight class, just studs. So I never thought I was going to be anything great because just the competition was so high. But just an amazing sport. But that helped me move around a lot and doing it. And I enjoyed it. I played football one year, my sophomore year. I liked it. I love football. Football is a big man sport, whether you like it or not. And I definitely was not a big man. So.
Oh yeah.
We always talk about, a lot of athletes have the same kind of mind. You're preparing in a lot of physical aspects like the military does. So when did the military become a part of the equation? Like evidently maybe going to college, maybe you thought you were going to wrestle, do something else. When did become an officer, Air Force pilot in the military really come into the picture?
Probably not until I graduated. So a little more of a backstory, I grew up Army, my dad, so my earliest memories, my dad was in the Army, my entire life until I went to college. My uncle was a career Army officer, MPCID officer. My grandfather on the Flanigan side, my dad's dad was a naval officer, fought in World War II, was captain of a ship, fought in the Battle of Okinawa. My mom's dad was a ball turret gunner in B-17s in World War II. So my sister enlisted in the Air Force out of high school, did her 4 years, went back to college. And so I had a lot of military in my family and being a third generation military officer, but having that leaving high school, I kind of wanted to get away from it because I grew up in Army bases. I moved so much. I just want to kind of get away from it all, not not be around it, go to where people, didn't really know what the military was and did that. So I went to the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. So like two and a half hours from Fayetteville, and I enjoyed my time, did it. I got my degree in communication studies, so nothing too troubling or too taxing. But the probably the moment that was, hey, I want to go in the military and serve was September 11, 2001, and that's where I just graduated. I graduated in May. I was sleeping on my buddy's couch. He had his family had a real nice beach house there in Wrightsville Beach. And so I was kind of in between places, which wasn't terrible because the place was awesome. And sleeping in that morning, my day off, and we all know what happened. The towers getting struck, and then from that moment on, I was like, I want to serve, and I don't know how to serve. My dad was a private pilot, so I'd gone up with him. I liked it a lot, but I never really thought I could do it professionally. But I figured, hey, why not give it a shot? So that's kind of what started the journey.
Right, and then so ultimately, how did you become a pilot? Like, what was the application process there? Like.
Yeah. I tell the story that's like, it's post 9/11 hits, I'm like, man, I want to go in the Air Force to see all these dudes in these commercials, wearing the sunglasses. I see the Navy guys, taking off the carriers and full burner. And it's like, man, I'm gonna, they're probably needing people. I'm gonna go down to the local recruiter, and probably just sign up and go get pilot shot. And that's not really it. There's Al probably knows some recruiting side of it.
Yeah, there's board dates. You got to submit packages.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's not like
especially on the officer side. There's not even a recruiter locally. Or like if you enlist, you just like go down probably the strip mall and talk to a dude. Like I think the guy was maybe in South Carolina. So, I think I go down there, make an appointment. I go in, I'm like, all right, man, I'm telling you, don't want to be a pilot in the Air Force. Cool, whatever. And start the journey. And I go down there and tell him, hey, I want to serve. And he's like, you won't get in. he's like, you can apply if you want, maybe I'll see some paperwork, but he's like, you're not going to get in. I'm like, what? And I'm kind of taken back. And so, but it's like, hey, I'm going to try anyway, man. I'm going to give it a whirl. And so, he would give me a little piece of information at a time. I'd apply, but I just kept being persistent with it. And so I had a good GPA, but my degree was kind of weak. I wasn't a private pilot yet. I'd soloed, I'd put some, I was poor, so I didn't really have any money. So I put together some money to at least solo to kind of prove at least I could fly a plane by myself, that I wasn't that huge of a risk. But I got the board results back. I got denied for a pilot slot, but I got picked up as a navigator. And so at first, I'm kind of on my feelings, like, oh, nah, man, I'm not going to go in. And, they turned me down. But then as I started thinking about it, I'm like, man, I want to serve. And this sounds like an awesome opportunity to go into the Air Force as a navigator. I don't know what a navigator does, but it sounds awesome and get paid to fly. And then I'll continue my dream of trying to be a pilot and go from there.
That is freaking amazing. So talk about what the process of actually getting behind, an AC-130 and what the functionality was during war. And I know we're kind of jumping around, but like
Yeah.
the AC-130 or like the big MC-130 special operations, the loadout that it has. Just wax poetic about your flying device, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no. So, when I got, I wasn't even number one dude in the class. I think it was like number three. I come out of NAV school. And so the way it works is, if it's like, they rack and stack you one through whatever. So the first person goes up, they get their first pick of plane, and it goes all the way down to the last pick. And then that person gets whatever they want. I was fortunate enough, there was an AC-130 U model gunship there when I picked going to Herbert Field, Florida. And so initially I'm like, man, Florida's gonna be great. I'd heard about the AC-130 a little bit, the war was going on. So I heard about the Afghan tornado and some of those pictures of the time lapse of them shooting their weapons. But I really didn't know much about it. So as I got there, I discovered that it's just an incredible community. I mean, not only the gunship world in itself, but the AFSOC world, which is Air Force Special Operations Command, which is the air component for U.S. SOCOM. So everybody thinks about Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Army Rangers, Marine Raiders now. But the Air Force part of that is AFSOC, and that's what I was a part of for my entire career. And so the AC-130, man, was the one I flew was a U model gunship. So it's like a 1995 version, and kind of what you're talking about is an MC-130. So the way it works is the Air Force as a whole buys the C-130s. We call them slicks. So you see a slick or trash hauler has nothing in the back, and that's what the Air Force buys you. And then what SOCOM does is it takes it, and it's kind of like an F-150. You buy a stripped down F-150, and then you can trick it out, right? You can throw tires on there, you can put a roof rack on it, running light, whatever you want to do, right? And so that's what SOCOM does. They take that slick that the Air Force buys them for $60 million. Then they spend their money and they trick it out. And so on our aircraft, they put guns on it. We had a 105 howitzer, which was the Army field artillery piece. It has the 40 millimeter Bofors cannon, which is a Navy anti-aircraft pom-pom gun from World War II. And then the 25 millimeter Gatling gun, which is the same weapon off the Harrier jet. So essentially had Marine, Navy, and Army weapons on our aircraft. And we had a crew of 12 to 13 crew members, 2 pilots up front and a flight engineer. You had 2 enlisted sensor operators who were actually kind of, technically the trigger pullers who were operating the sensor balls. And then while they had a trainable gun mounted to them. And then you had a fire control officer that essentially was kind of quarterbacking them, telling what to do. And he or she was kind of doing the button pushing to select the guns and also sight the weapons in, or we call it tweaking. And then navigator, which is the first job I had on the aircraft. My role was essentially the primary communicator to the ground party. So I was the guy on the radio that was talking to the Navy SEAL or the combat controller or the Army Ranger on the ground and passing them updates and doing the fire missions. And then we also had an EWO, which is electronic warfare officer, which is the defensive guy who's doing all the jamming and all the all the beeps and squeaks, kind of nerdy stuff. And then we had our load master and then our 4 gunners. And our gunners are like the 18 to 22-year-old dudes that are just big, just getting after it. And so it's an awesome crew, man. So I got to grow up in that community with just great people doing amazing things and no fail missions, and it just was amazing.
How long? I got a question. How long were you a navigator before you moved? I guess the front seat, right?
Yeah. Till I moved up in life. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. So I did. I did 6 deployments as a navigator. So I had like 1,700 hours total. I think like 1,100 more combat as a navigator. I was an instructor navigator. And so I kept trying. That's like the old cliche. It's like, oh, you're a nav, wanting to be a pilot. Like, oh, great, another one, And I never gave up. I tried. I got denied so many times. I applied for an active duty board to go from navigator to pilot. I didn't get it my first year. I then applied to go to the reserves. I got a unit that hired me that was going to send me to pilot training. I just had to get released from my active duty commitment for like the last year or something like that, and the Air Force Personnel Center denied me, and so I couldn't do that. And then finally my third time, I got selected as on the active duty board to go to pilot training,
Nice.
and so I went and did that, and then I was fortunate enough to be the number one dude, and I was able to get a gunship and go back to Hurlburt.
Sir, if we could, like, we've skipped around a lot, so can we go back to when you're fully qualified, your air crew's ready, you're going to your first deployment? But before we get to the first deployment, when did you start your family, and how was that basically moving them around? I'm guessing your year 2005. Is that what you were? Year 05?
I'm a 2003 guy. 2003.
Okay. So
yeah.
You're right in the middle of the global war on terror. Like, what was that op tempo like for your family leading into your first deployments and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So my wife Chrissy and I got married the weekend before I got my navigator wings. So I met her in college right after I graduated college. So she was in her senior year. I just finished mine. I graduated. I'd met her at a bar. She had known me. I didn't really know her well. She, as I like to say, but we kind of hit it off and started dating. And so, I told her when we started dating, I was like, hey, I'm applying to the Air Force. I'm not sure if I'm going to get in. It's kind of what I want to do. And then, probably about 5-6 months later on, I got selected and I went in. And so we continued dating and do it, and continuing to, talk and, long distance. And long story short, eventually we're kind of like, hey, either we're going to do this or we're not, because I'm kind of moving on with my life. And, I'm committed to you, you committed to me. And that was it. She said yes. And so we got married 2004, right when I graduated navigator school. We moved to Herbert Field, Florida, where I was first based. And so we were essentially just a young couple for our first 5 years. We were living on Okaloosa Island, man, having a good time. I was deploying, so, my wife had it, she was getting her master's degree in accounting. So she stayed busy with that, and then her accounting job. So she was busy with it. But yeah, I didn't have it as bad as other crew positions. So I deployed probably, 4 to 5 months out of the year, and that's split in half. I think I did like 2.5 months in beginning of the year, and then 2.5 months kind of in the fall. So I had a great ops tempo comparatively what other people were experiencing during that time. But I was like I'll say a deadbeat husband, but you're gone. So my wife's keeping the house, just like you guys know. The wife's taking care of the houses, making sure the finances are getting taken care of. She's by herself doing those things. And we had a good friend group, a good community to be a part of, and friends, and family. And so we were able to work through those early times of doing that. But then we had our first son Cole when I went to pilot training, which is another very hard thing to do. Is between primary and advanced. We had our first son Cole in 2010. And so I had a little bit of time with him while I was going through training to get my pilot wings, and then make it back to Hurlburt. We had to go to Little Rock first for 3 months and then get to Hurlburt. But then oh yeah, got some sort of beeping going on. And then we had essentially, it was on her, and that's why I think, one of the reasons about probably why, I subconsciously picked her, because of her determination and her ability to be a strong person, a strong spouse, and make up the ground for while I was gone. But other people in my community, man, had it a lot harder. There were people doing, and we kind of joked about it before before we went live, but that was back in the days before Dwell. So we had people that are doing, 60 days, 4 months, come back, min turn and go back. And the only reason we were swapping back and forth is because we ran out of flight hours. And so when you fly planes in the military, any plane, right, you have certain hour requirements. They won't let you fly once you hit a certain hour. And I think it's like 125 hours a month, or like waiverable like to 150. And all of our crews are wavered up to that amount. And so we would literally just go over there, fly our asses off, and then come back and sit until we got until we had more hours available, and then go back over again. And we're just yo-yoing back and forth and back and forth. And so, so in the grand scheme of things, I had it pretty good. But we did that, and then I was fortunate, to our second son Carson came in 2012, and so it's kind of the beginning portions of my my pilot life. And so I was very fortunate, one, to be there for it, for his birth, and then two, to be there for the first year and a half of his life. before I had to go to my next deployment. So in the grand scheme of things, I can't complain. But I'm pretty fortunate to have an amazing wife, amazing family that supports me, and it always allowed me to go operate, right? To go over there and do what we had to go do, to pull triggers and protect ground parties.
Yeah. Yeah, I sit in wonderment of I've got 6 children and what they had
Oh,
to
wow.
go through jerking them
Yeah,
around.
that dude couldn't pull out of a driveway, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
give
those
her a break, man.
deployments during those times. Like, I know we've covered this from a kind of a macro perspective, but like, if you don't mind, tell me what a day in the life was like for you guys when you wake up and there's so many considerations. Kind of walk us through a day with your crew and what your job would entail during deployment while
yeah.
getting to these flight maxes.
Oh yeah. So so we're vampires. So we fly during the nighttime, we sleep during the day. And so we call the other people day walkers. So all the people that are, like working normal business hours or, daylight hours, we call them day walkers because we're at nighttime, when everybody's asleep and we're working. So usually you wake up probably, and it depends what kind of guy you are. If you get up, and do your Jersey Shore gym tan laundry routine. Some people work out before, right when they wake up. I would usually wake up, go work out, and then we'd have a bus, a crew bus. And so when we deployed, we were hard crews. So 12 crew members, we stayed the same crew for our full deployment, whether that was 60 days, 90 days, or 4 months. We stuck together for the most part. And so we'd have a chow bus that would leave at a certain time every day to go get our breakfast, which was dinner. So we'd load up, go to dinner, and we come back, and then we would have our different brief times depending on what go you were. So usually we would have like four, maybe 5 crews over there, depending on how many airplanes were over there at a time. Usually there's like 2 or 3 crews flying, and there's a crew that's on plans, or they're like DNIF coverage, which is if somebody gets sick, that you can jump in and fly for them. So, say a co-pilot wakes up and has got a, stuffy head or is throwing up, the co-pilot on plans can take his or her place and go fly the mission. So we'd eat, we come back for our briefing, and we get our standard, kind of brief of what we're going to go do. And so, we have our own folders, our own kits, and we get briefed on our intel, what we're going to go do. And so our planners will be working that day. They would get up at like 1 p.m. or, noon, somewhere around that time. And they would start planning the operations for that night. All of our customers, which we had a ton of them, like I mentioned, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Army Rangers, foreign SOF, would all put requests in for our support. And they would decide on priorities, what we would do that night and what missions we would go support. And then we'd get briefed on it. So, we go in there like, you're going to go support this team, this SEAL team. They're going to be in Ramadi tonight doing a hit for this, for this bad guy. Here's a scheme of maneuver. Here's your concept of fires. Here's the concept of operations, and they give you a pack of paper, kind of telling what they're going to do, the radio frequencies and everything for their mission. And so they kind of give us the brief of what we're going to go do. We'd have to, and they would usually do kind of the macro stuff of, hey, you're going to take off, you're going to go shoot on the range, you're going to tweak the guns, go hit a tanker, air-to-air refueling to get a full bag of gas. You're going to go overhead this target, infill time is this. So depending on whether they're going to do a helo assault force or a ground assault force, depending on what we're going to do, but they're going to hit the house kind of like a SWAT team. Secure it, do what they need to do, whether interrogate people and do sensitive site exploitation, and then they're going to exfil out of there. And so we would do this full plan, man. They'd tell us all about it. Like, okay, we got it. And then each crew member would start doing their part. So as a navigator, I would start working the fuel plan, the routes, the airspace that we're doing, start looking at the concept of fires, of how they're going to maneuver, do all those things. The pilots are, doing kind of the same portion of it. The sensor operators are getting imagery. They're trying to get more micro because they're one operating the sensor ball. EWO's looking at threats of where we're going. The gunners are planning for the ammo load. They're going out in pre-flight and doing all these things. And so we'd, kind of do all of our work, and then we'd all come together and start briefing. We kind of just do a quick, like 15-minute, this is the family brief right now. This is what we're doing. The aircraft commander would get up. Hey, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Making sure we step through it real quick. Any issues? This is where supporting call sign. We would call actually the ground force. So I'd call the JTAC, which is the Joint Terminal Air Controller, the dude on the radio, and say, hey, man, this is Brian. I'm hammered, 2-2 tonight, man. I'll be overhead. I got your products. This is what it looks like to me. Is that right? And they'd be like, oh, no, actually, we're going to do this or that. Or we expect it to be kinetic. Like these are some bad dudes are going after. We're probably gonna be shooting. So just FYI. Or hey, you know, it's probably going to be another burger, whatever it is. So we go through this whole process, we brief it up, and we're like, "Is everybody good? We're all good. Okay, cool, sweet." You know, so we start, you know, hey, bust time about 15 minutes, and about 5 minutes into that, you know, the planners would walk in, and be like, "Hey, just kidding, guys. You're not going to that op. Here's a completely separate op, and you're late, so just run out the door." You know, so like, son of a bitch, you know, like, all right, cool, all right, YOLO, let's go. And so, you know, we take it and we just start running and gunning, you know, and all we would say we need a call sign, a frequency, and a grid where to go, and we'll figure the rest out on the fly. And so, because of that type of the war, like you talked about the GWAP, man, I mean, we were just running and gunning. You know, we were doing multiple ops a night. You know, we'd plan for one, brief one, go to another. We'd even go to that one, and we'd have stacks of ops we could go to. And so we got very, very good at operating on the fly and just dealing with the chaos of it. And you know, sometimes you know, I tell a story. You get daylight woken up. You know, and I had that my probably my last deployment as a nav. I tell a story about the French guys getting overrun in Afghanistan. And so, you know, we're dead asleep in the middle of the day, and they come banging on our doors and like, "Hey, wake up! You got to go." We're like, "Where are we going?" They're like, "We don't know, but some French guys get overran. They're taking heavy casualties. Like, you got to go. Just go to the plane. Just run." You know, and so like we'll figure it out later. Just start going. And so, you know, we're just putting all our kit on and doing everything, and nobody knows nothing. And so we're running to the plane. We start cranking it up. We start getting a little bit more information starts coming through, and we start start working big to small. And we were able to do that is because that's the life we lived. And so we knew we could, you know, the details that we needed, we didn't need it right now. We're going to need them down the road, but right now we got to figure out whether we're going east or west or north or south. And, you know, we'll start there and then work it from there. And so some days we're just like watching paint dry, you know, doing these big clearing ops, this big gaff, you know, and not that you want anything bad to happen, you know, but, you know, we're a gunship, you know, and so just like a hammer wants to hammer things, like we're a gunship, we want to shoot stuff, we want to shoot bad guys. And so some days just eye gouging, whatever. Other days, man, you're just it is straight chaos. You know, I've seen helos crash. I've seen friendlies take, you know, casualties and have lost a life. You know, just, you know, suicide vests. I mean, just everything. And so you get kind of get the spectrum of it. And a lot of it too is you never know when it's coming. You know, for a lot of those laps, you're watching paint dry and you're poking your eye out, and it's boring, you know, for 99% of it. And all of a sudden, someone's like, "Hey, is that tracer fire?" And all of a sudden, what? And all of a sudden, the guy keys the mic, and then they're asking for a fire mission. You're shooting danger close, and so our community always had to be ready. And so we were always ready to shoot, always ready for the kind of the gunfight that would come because it could turn on a dime at any minute. And so it was a very, very dynamic situation, and we absolutely loved it, man. But you know, I tell the stories, man. That what I remember the most is not, you know, the danger close shoots and, you know, saving the day as a crew. It's all the camaraderie we had post mission. You know, eating breakfast with everybody and telling stories with it. That's kind of like the day of the life of a gunship guy or gal, Iraq, Afghanistan.
I know that I can speak for Al when I say that was fucking exciting, and we're both tactically erect right now.
We're tactically erect right now. I'll tell you, I definitely appreciate it. Like, it was kind of the same situation from a ground perspective, right? When we were doing nighttime convoys or doing whatever we're doing, there was times when you didn't have airship cover and you were like, "Fuck, this is gonna suck." But when you seen those birds in the air, you were like, you feel so much better. You're like, "We're good." Like they know, they see a lot further than we see. Like it's gonna be good. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned when you talk about the camaraderie piece. That's the stories like when I talk to my family about, you know, being in a combat zone and all the shit, all the high speed shit you're doing. That's cool and that's fun. But like sitting around and bullshitting and fucking, we were doing stupid shit like fighting fucking scorpions and shit, and fucking like just ignorant shit, like just hanging out was like those are, you know, sitting in a damn sandstorm, like just sucks. Like those are the fun times when that stuff that you really remember. Yeah, the camaraderie is thick when it comes to teams and what you're doing. But yeah, I will say we felt so much better when we knew the Air Force, when we knew we had air cover. We were like, we're gonna be okay.
We love doing it. And a lot of that too is that, you know, we talk about is, yeah, it may be boring as hell for us, but if that allows dudes on the ground to get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that they know that nobody's gonna mess with them, dude. And we would do that a lot. You know, we just roll up, post up overhead, and these dudes got the target secure, they got the village secure, and they just need to have a breather,
Yep.
and be like, gotcha, bro. Like, you can guarantee ain't nobody sneaking up on you tonight. We're
No.
gonna sit here and we'll go to work. Don't even worry about talking to us. Like, we'll call you if it's important. And I tell that story. I don't know if everybody's seen that movie Warfare. It's like the Marine movie about Armati.
Great movie.
Great movie. And I saw like the preview over a clip of it, I think like on Instagram or something with us, but we talk about the camaraderie and what's with people most. And that scene, the opening scene where they're all kitted out and they're in the ready room, and like that music video goes on, they all start dancing and doing it. Like, dude, I get like, when I saw that, I got emotional.
Yeah.
Because that is like literally, if I could describe my experiences, like that's what I value the most. And that's what I miss the most, is being being around such good people and doing such amazing things. And it's those moments of levity that that we enjoyed. And so the context, I think, was perfect for that. The people understand what we're experiencing.
Well, it's ultra intelligent professionals fucktardery. Like, that's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
Like, the most professional, squared away, hit a target, do some shit type of people, but just straight fucktards. Like, it's like the best of both worlds. Like,
and our crew, like there were let's see, 1, 2, 5 officers out of 12. The rest are enlisted, and there ain't no rank on a gunship crew. Ain't no rank in the plane.
No.
So it's like prison, man. Like, you got to hold your own.
Yeah.
And those gunners, man, they try you. If you didn't hold your own, or you got sensitive, or I joke, it has some EWOs, which were always the they're kind of, I'd say, the nerds, because they're the beeps and squeak guys. And so I always joke, like, if your EWO doesn't speak Klingon, he's suspect, or doesn't have an 8-sided dice in his pocket, that's not the one you want. But you get some EWOs, that pull like the I'm an officer card, you can't mess with me, and just like, man, the gunners, they just smell blood and just get after them. But yeah, I mean, dude, we just took care of each other, and worked hard, partied hard, all the things.
Yeah, we had one officer, one senior chief, so senior enlisted guy, and a gunnery sergeant, and the rest of us were enlisted, and it was constant chaos. Like, our officer, he was great. I'll shout out, if you're watching. I think he's commander now. Commander Jared Moore was great, but we fucked with that dude so hard because we called him Bunker, because it didn't matter what was going on. If there was incoming rounds, he was screaming, "Get to the fucking bunker!" Like, we're outside the fucking berm tanning and shit. He's like,
Big Sky Theory.
He's got all his shit on. He's got his fucking shoulder pads on, his fucking cod piece. We're like, dude, what are you doing?
It's like, you actually brought that crap?
He brought all that shit. And like, he was great. He never wore deodorant. He didn't believe in deodorant, so he smelled like a fucking Iraqi goat all the time. But we gave our officer. He was a great dude. We gave him so much shit. I think he was an 03 maybe at the time. Oh, it was bad. It was bad, sir. We gave him. Oh.
I mean, just listening to that, that's I know that's what I missed. It was always a good feeling when you're in the middle of the Maroof or Tagab Valley and you call up just for the radio check and know that you do have cast support in the area when they come on station. Roger, will you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that makes
Tagab Valley, dude. That place was a shithole, man. Like, that's what I think those French guys got overran, was over there. It was like right next to freaking Bagram, 2008. Yeah, 2008.
Spin Bulldog down there. That's where the French were. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Crazy times. Those are some amazing stories, sir. So, hey, we're kind of moving to the transition part. So what did transitioning look like for you out of the Air Force?
So I transitioned twice, I guess, technically, because at 17 years, I got out of active duty and went to the reserves. And so to fly the MQ-9 Reaper there at Herbert Field. And it wasn't because I didn't want to serve anymore or do whatever, but I had, I basically wanted to be a pilot my entire career. I finally got to be a pilot. I did my deployments. I did, right before I did my aircraft commander upgrade, I got sick with cancer for a year. And then I got up. I did my upgrade to the left seat, to the captain spot. And then I went to school for 2 years and came back. And then I flew. And then they were retiring the airplane. And I just wanted to go fly. And so in 17, I went to the reserves to be essentially an active reservist, with flying the MQ-9. So basically full time doing it. And so I did that. That was kind of my first transition, and then my second one was in the end of 23 when I retired, and I had a great transition. I had probably on paper probably one of the better ones you can probably have. I didn't move, so I stayed at my house that was that I currently lived in. I got hired by an airline, being a pilot, well in advance. I think I had my job probably like in October or somewhere around there, maybe or September for the January start or for the November start date. I started my job on terminal leave, and so and I was pretty much doing what I did in the military. Yeah, it's different, but flying a plane and being around probably other more military pilots as well. And so I was mentally ready, financially I was ready, all these things I was ready to do that. And so on paper, it was great and smooth. Retire and doing the VA stuff went well. But what I found was, 6 months after I retired and in my job, and after all the adrenaline wore off, after I got my job, I kind of got trained up, got on the line, did it, worked through all the awkwardness of, of what to wear and what to do. I started missing that purpose and that identity associated with it. And I tell people my identity was, consciously was never wrapped up in that. I would tell people, I'm like, man, I'm Brian, I was this way before I came in the military. I'm this way I'm afterwards. But subconsciously, I really started missing it. I started missing, and I say, doing hard shit with good people. That's really what it is. I didn't care what it was. I just want to go do something with the likes of that. And so, and I say it still is something that's on my mind. I still deal with it, because the job I have is great as an airline pilot, man. I'm not complaining. The money's great. The schedule's great. But again, when it's all said and done, I'm a cog in a wheel, and I'm a glorified bus driver, as I joke about, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Not having to supervise people or do paperwork, not having to send emails is a great life. But on the flip side of that, getting to work with people and be around it and being around high performers is what I miss. And so that's probably the only real struggle that I had with it, or continue kind of to fight with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I keep hearing from your entire life is you're prepared. You've thought about what you wanted to do. You seem to be very, very meticulous. So, I think we should, before we move further into like what he's doing now, do you want to put him in the hot seat real quick?
Fuck it, let's roll.
Yeah.
Oh man, all right. Already sweating.
Now here we go. All right. So what we do on the hot seat here is, I'm going to ask a couple questions, but just say the first thing that comes to your head there.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Oh man.
What was a pre-mission music playlist that you always had to have?
Probably like Down with the Sickness, all the standard GWAT stuff, Chevelle, probably some hard rock, usually a lot of that.
Excellent. Perfect. What's the most unique place in the world you've ever visited?
Budapest, Hungary.
And what was special about Budapest?
It was the first time, in my military career, that we actually got to take a gunship somewhere other than Iraq and Afghanistan. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, cool as hell. All right, so you kind of grew up in the 80s, like I did. What's your favorite movie about a pilot? Is it Top Gun or Iron Eagle?
I know I was going to go against my Air Force roots. It's Top Gun, man. I mean, I love Iron Eagle. It's great. Doug Masters, Chappie. I love it. I know Air Force why I'm supposed to, but Top Gun, dude. I mean, it's it's a classic. It's the greatest movie, dude.
I got love for Iron Eagle, but Top Gun's always going to be the one. First concert and best concert.
First concert. First concert, I think it was Dave Matthews Band, Walnut Creek, Raleigh, 97 summer, I believe. And then best concert I've ever seen was, and you guys can make fun of me, it's fine, but Third Eye Blind, House of Blues, Myrtle Beach, I think in 97, 98, when their first album was blowing up. It was awesome.
Oh no, we're not going to make fun of you. That's a good look. All right, sir. Time travel is possible. What era are you traveling back to? Who are you going to talk to, and what are you going to talk about?
Oh man. All right, I'm going to go back to the early 1900s. and I'm going to talk to the Wright brothers and just pick their brain on, you know, their story and their persistence of, you know, inventing the airplane, and see, you know, and basically what's going through their mind, and just, you know, getting context, more context around their journey to see if they ever just want to quit.
Absolutely. All right, here's this is a pop quiz. I thought this was funny because once I found out what you did, and that you did the Reaper and all that kind of stuff, I got a question for you here. Pop quiz. Refer to figure 10. If your unmanned aircraft weighs 45 pounds just prior to takeoff, this includes any fuel and added equipment, the total weight of the aircraft. What would be the weight or G-force of the aircraft in a 45-degree bank?
Oh man. So at takeoff 45, bank was 45 up. 45 is a 2G turn. No, it's not. That's 60. So it's a 1. Sorry, I got to see what's on the left. What's that blue and green?
Oh man.
Are those the G's?
I was hoping you'd be like, screw that, I'm not answering, but just like you're about to answer, that's good enough, sir. We don't have
Hey, I did tell you that my undergraduate degree was in communication studies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. What is that? That's the angle of bank is blue, load factor is green.
Yeah, the G's, 1.4, yeah. So 1.4 times 45 is what, like, I don't know, we'll call it 67 pounds.
Okay. Hey, the fact that you're there, let's see. 63.5, I think, was one of the answers. So 63.5, approximately 90, or almost 52 pounds. Anyway,
I'll do 63.
I think we nerded out for Al better than we have anybody else on the show.
Nerd.
I appreciate that. All right. One more. We got 2 more questions, but I'm going to ask you this one first. Settle this debate for us. Who's the greatest of all time, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. Just reach, impact.
Reach, impact. I like it. Yeah, you're on episode 164, and as you can see, it's contentious, but Michael Jackson has won for the last 2 weeks. So you can never argue if someone picks Michael Jackson for this just because of what you said, the reach. But like, man, people that are meticulous, sometimes they pick Prince because, you know, of what he did and how he did. But I appreciate that. Second to last question. You're a cancer survivor. Talk to me a little bit about the resilience and how you applied, you know, your leadership techniques to get through that.
Yeah. Sounds cheesy, man, but attitude, effort, and focus. Those are the only things you can control. And attitude's a lot of it, just being positive. And people, I'm a naturally positive person, just how I was raised, I guess, you know, based off my experiences. And so just being positive through that experience. And people have told me that. They said, hey, you know, you got to be positive. You know, it's going to be tough days. And you're kind of, yeah, whatever. You know, I'm sure. But as you start going through it and seeing it, and there's a direct correlation, and I can't scientifically prove it, I'm sure, but with your attitude and how well you go through treatment and surviving it and doing it. And listen, everybody's got trauma in their life, man. You know, everybody's got a story. Everybody's been through something. One of my big ones was cancer. It was hard, but I was grateful that it was a highly curable cancer. It was like a 96% cure rate. I had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I had a tumor about the size of a softball in my chest. So right there, that I did not see coming. Woke up one morning, I was, all fat, dumb, and happy, feeling that before. And then by that evening, I was diagnosed with a massive tumor in my chest and most likely cancer. And so getting through that with just, one, attitude, 2, just family, faith, persistence, and just the will to fight. I didn't have a choice. My kids were 1 and 3 years old. And so it wasn't ever an option of whether I was not going to get through it or not. I knew I was going to. And I think anything in life, when you're dealing with some sort of disruption that creates chaos of setting your mind and identifying your target, your objective, what you're going to do, and commit to it. and go for it. And it was no different, for that realm of my life. And I had to learn that on whether it was wanting to be a pilot or performing in the aircraft as a navigator or a co-pilot in AC-130, is that, you got to put your mind to it and commit to doing it. There's no exits, there's no other options. And so that helped kind of get me through there, where it was just a matter of time of beating it.
I love that answer. That's amazing, sir. Bring Al in for this last one. We like to do an AAR for the last question. What can we do to make our podcast better?
Oh man, dude. Well, yeah. First, you guys are awesome. You guys are, man, professional. I think the lead up to this, the products, the information is great. Maybe fill a PDF form that is easier to, that is preload or easier to fill out. You know what I mean? As far as like a set form, you can just get on there and it's you can open it up and type in and then just hit submit, as opposed to actually having to fill out a PDF document. But besides that, man, I think it's awesome. And then maybe some tech stuff and just hey, it's best to use it on your iPad or your phone, your camera or your laptop. Maybe just a little bit of read ahead on that. But besides that, man, I think you guys are running top notch. I've been on a few podcasts, and so you guys are definitely top notch with it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm taking notes on that one. Al, you got anything there?
Bro, I don't know shit about PDFs and forms and shit.
Oh, you're muted. I didn't hear him.
Did you mute me?
No.
Am I muted now?
Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you not hear us, Brian?
I can hear you, Ty. I can't hear Al.
Oh.
Translate.
So, yeah, well, damn. I don't know shit about no PDFs and no fucking.
You don't know shit about no PDFs and all that kind of stuff. So but yeah, some people tell us to do more live shows in person. We're definitely trying to get towards that. But I appreciate you giving an honest feedback, because I don't like the PDF forms either. So we're going to change that. We're going to call it the Flanigan pre-flight checklist for the trip.
Oh, dude, yeah, I like it.
Pre-flight, we'll fix that. I appreciate that.
Well, the real reason is I'm a moron, so it's hard for me. I need something I can just type into.
Yeah, I mean, same as me. I was IT guy when I was in, and all the forms. I was trying to sign into DirecTV for my wife before we did this podcast tonight, and I can't figure that shit out. It wants me to authenticate this QR code and give pints of blood and stuff. Like I was an IT guy, and it pisses me off now. But yeah, we'll fix that, sir. Appreciate that. So, sir, what are you doing now? Like, what is your passion in life these days?
Yeah, so my trade obviously is airline pilot, so I do that as my my normal job to kind of pay the bills, keep the lights on. But I started doing a speaking business, and so I did I was asked to do a keynote speech last year. Kind of out of the blue a little bit of doing it based off of my experiences, what I'd done. And so I gave a keynote speech for it's called Mil Money Con, so Military Money Conference, which is for financial professionals in the military space. And so I did it. Essentially, my message was about navigating chaos and identifying your targets, based off of my experience flying, special operations aircraft, my cancer battle, and all these things. And so I did that, and I had a lot of great feedback. People coming up to me afterwards and asking me if I do it professionally and all these other things. And you know how it is. It's like, man, people just saying nice shit to you. They really don't mean it. And so I, fast forward, I kind of, I was like, I don't really. I love speaking. I love helping people and doing it, but I just didn't, put myself out there and doing stuff. Kind of goes against the kind of how I was in the military and growing up with the humility. But but anyway, long story short, I got approached about doing another speaking gig, and so I think that was kind of God's way of telling me that, hey, I need to get off the wall and off the couch and start getting out and helping people. And so that's essentially what I'm doing now, man. I'm doing public speaking and really just talk about navigating chaos and trying to help people get some direction when disruption hits their life. And that can be personal, professional, or as an organization. A lot of veteran employee resource groups for companies that are trying to attract veteran talent, as well as utilize that talent and help them to thrive, not only as individuals in their organization, but to use their strengths to help the business and perform. And so doing that, and then just also looking for ways to volunteer and speak to other, veteran organizations or nonprofits that need help, and specifically the area of transition, identity, and purpose. Having been a guy that's really like 2.5 years from transitioning, it's still fresh in my mind, and I'm still feeling the effects of all that. And so I'm just starting out, man. I'm just here to help people. I'm not trying to sell a jump to conclusions map to anybody. I want to use my powers for good, and hopefully make a difference in somebody's life. Whether that's one person or 20.
I love the message. We've been putting your social media across the screen, and we'll be sure to share it with all the reels we do from this. But like, if you had to give like an elevator pitch to someone joining the military today, probably in the Air Force and aviation, what would be your elevator pitch for patriotism and leadership in the military these days?
Yeah, what you're about to sign up for and go do, money can't buy. And so, giving yourself to something bigger than yourself, and not only serving your country, but serving your brothers and sisters in arms. And that's really where it's at. And the memories you're going to create are going to be greater than any kind of combat stories that you have. And what you're going to learn from that experience, there's going to be some bad that goes around with it. Don't get me wrong, there's a give and take from the government, working with the military. But in the grand scheme of things, you're going to be able to look back and one, have stories, and two, have great relationships with people that you serve with. And there's gonna be a lot of people that don't have that, and I'm actually grateful for that. I fly with people every weekend or every week that have served in the military. We trade stories about what we did, and then there's other ones that don't have that stuff. And so when you're old and gray and be able to look back on your life and career, you'll be able to say that you actually did something of meaning. And I'm not saying you can't do it in other phases of life. Service is service, but the military, I think, gives a unique opportunity to do things, specifically, breaking things and killing people.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've talked about for a while on the show now that the Global War on Terror veteran and all the people that fought during that war, they just have something special. Like when they got out, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on with transition, but I hear so many veteran success stories, especially those people that had a career in the military. Like their transition seems to be much better. And you tell a story that is just amazing resilience, op tempo that's very high. And so like just from knowing you from this interview, you're part of the family now. We really appreciate you. If there's ever anything we can do for you, if you're ever in Houston, just let us know. But ladies and gentlemen, you can find him on YouTube. You can find him on X. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook. We've put it all in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Flanigan.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. And he lives in the street. He's close. He's 15 minutes up the street.
Oh shit! Hold on. So, sir, let me bring you back impromptu.
I'm back.
Just the fact that you're from Corbin, Kentucky, as well. Shout out Corbin, Kentucky.
Shout out Corbin, Kentucky.
Hell yeah, that's that. I do a lot of research on people. I don't know how that got by me.
I'm basically like Jason Bourne, man. Off the grid.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep in touch with you.
Really.
I want to share some stories with you, sir. So appreciate you again, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Flanigan.
Thank
you. Hell yeah, that's fun. Hey, so I got to get off. I was trying to hurry it along. I forgot to tell you, but my wife's not feeling well. We had to run to the doctor today, so I'm gonna go see if she needs anything. And
take us out, bro.
Shout out to Sarah for being awesome. Thanks for letting me still do the podcast tonight. She'll be in there taking care of you. Love you, baby. Sports we got coming up here. Here's the top 25. Was it anything that you thought was crazy, or are you ready for football season to start?
Bro, I'm just ready. The rankings don't mean shit. That don't mean shit to me coming out the gate. I'm just ready for some college football, dude. That's all I care about. I'm ready for some college games.
Yeah, it actually starts on the 29th with Cal Poly, I think, has the first game. Yep. So be sure and pick some games this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got Eric Morante's 15 Seconds of Freedom. Give me 1 second.
Should be played at high volume.
It's always a cool sound.
You ain't never lied. That's freaking sweet, dude.
I probably should have played an AC-130.
Yeah, gunship. Yeah.
Yeah, I produced that. I didn't do well producing that. I'll make notes for myself. Next week, we got another MP. Sorry, Al. Dwayne Wagner Sr., Colonel retired. He was a CGSC instructor, mentor to many. There's a bunch of people that have been guests on the show that said, this guy is a mentor, and I've been watching his social media. He's got a series on his social media where he says, keep calm and be a silent reader. So he responds to comments and just waxes poetic about, everything that veterans are, pissed off about. And he's pretty balanced, and he's got some strong opinions, and can't wait to interview him. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Well, hope Matt drove home and made it home tonight. I know he's on the road, so
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. Go ahead and you got anything to say before we head out of here?
Nope, bro. Go ahead and take us out.
All right, folks. So here we go.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.